Georgia's background in nourishing movie stars and the health elite, opening organic restaurants, and growing her own kale continues to bring a unique take on sophistication to Vancouver's hippie-heavy health food scene. She is working right now on Ello, a new quick service food concept with Adam Millard and Chloe Gao. Is it Jarrett or Jarrett? Tell me so I do this right. Jarrett, okay. That will change the face of fast food in Vancouver and soon thereafter the world. I don't know about you, but my mouth is watering. I would like to introduce you, please, to Georgia.
Wow, that sounds so glamorous. It's not as glamorous as it sounds, trust me. But first of all, I just want to acknowledge everyone on the stage. I feel like I'm keeping some amazing company, and I feel so pleased to be a part of tonight's event, so thank you for having me. I want to give you a little bit of context. I might stand away from the podium. No, I can't. There's a mic. I'm going to stand right in front of the podium. I'm going to give you some context for where I come from. And I love this word evolution that is here. For me, food has been quite an evolution. And it started in my grandmother's backyard. She was very British, and she wasn't the traditional grandmother that I had always hoped for, candy bowls on the table and, crocheted napkins and such. She was very intelligent, very well educated, very pristine, and very refined. And we would go into her back garden and we would pick leaves of lettuce and drizzle exquisite olive oil on them. And she taught me how to make the best bechamel and how to sesame sticks. Are you familiar with sesame sticks? Yeah. Well, I was so sick of sesame sticks by the time I was 7, but now I can't get enough, of course. But she actually was the first introduction for me into what real food was like. Not food from a box. I mean, I was born in the 70s, we won't say when, but I was born in the 70s, and so there was a lot of boxed food. And so as I grew up, I began to know food and know how I wanted to be a part of it. I began to understand that it was a part of my genetic code. And as I became a teenager and an adult and got into culinary school and started cooking, and I kind of placed myself in this world that at that time was still very male dominant. It is actually still. It's 75% men in the kitchen still. And I had to kind of hike up my bootstraps and take a firm stance, and you don't really mess with me. So it was pretty. I got along all right with them, and. I got out of school and I moved to Europe, and I ran a restaurant, and it was incredible. And when I got back, I got into film and television. And to be totally honest with you, it was for status. Working with actors and musicians and big names, it's a very status quo position. And I wasn't happy. And I found that there was something very much missing from what I needed to be doing. So I turned to holistic health and did my diploma in natural nutrition. And from there, I really built the roots of where I was going to go with food. The restaurant industry was all consuming, and I want to talk about business today in the restaurant industry and how we're going to change that. How we're going to be more progressive and more accepting, and how we're going to train staff to know the back of house and the front of house. It's more cohesive for me. So from that place, I knew that what I wanted to do was create a personal brand, and if you haven't done that yet, I suggest you do. So I created a personal brand that was built on truth, and what resonated for me was that food was truth, and that people were part of that process. And I began to attract people who I wanted to work with. And it began to be a real life. It began to be real and make sense to me. And so White Light Chef was born. Yoga for your belly. I'm also a yoga instructor. You can throw a rock in the city and hit one. And I'm a yoga instructor, and yoga and food came together, and food for your belly, and aligning each being's body for optimal nutrition and health was where I wanted to go. So in the last year, I had the privilege of being a part of opening one of Vancouver's biggest vegetarian restaurants. I am a virtual vegan or virtually vegan, which means I make good choices. So I was part of opening up Heirloom Vegetarian. And during that time, Adam Millard and Chloe Gow-Jarrett were sort of courting me. And Adam actually came to me in September prior to the restaurant opening, and he said, do you want to come and join this project? And I was like, man, I'm opening a restaurant. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm still over here doing this. And he kept coming back, and we kept having these amazing conversations. And then, finally in December, after Heirloom had opened and it was underway and a great success, I chose to join them. And we are building what we are calling a QSR disruptor, which means we're going to shake it up. So fast food, right? You all go, right? Well, we're taking healthy back. We're taking fresh back. We're reclaiming what those words mean to us today. Adam and Chloe were in Australia with their very young son, and they were driving from one point to another point. I can't remember the whole story, but they ended up at this little, it was like a what do you call it, gas station kiosk area where they were looking for food, and there was nothing. There was no choice. And it dawned on them that we lack choice. We lack choice, but not in the 50-item menu kind of way, but in where do we eat when we want to make choices that are value-based. So we are creating this very simple concept that is working in partnership with other small growing businesses in Vancouver. And we're also building a scalable model. We won't be fenced in. Just because we want to build these in a regional way, build them starting from Western Canada down the Western Seaboard and then into the East Coast, but each one will be built by region, local, and seasonal. Doesn't mean we have to think small. It means we can use resources that we have here, but build the business in a scalable way. And that we do that by creating relationships. Anyway, I'm really excited. Totally. I had all these notes I was bringing up here tonight, and I just left them because I'm so stoked. You know, I have an 8-year-old son, and he's a really balanced eater, and he knows how to make good choices, but he's also 8, you know, and he needs some, he needs some nudging in that department. And I really think that what this new concept is going to bring to Vancouver is a sense of community and business and partnership and teaching and learning. We are teachable, and we can teach. But thank you. Thank you very much.